Today I'm making cream of cauliflower soup in the Instant Pot. This is like a super simple recipe. You just like stir everything together, turn it on, walk away, and you have a beautiful bowl of creamy, comforting soup when you're done. And you can also make this in a slow cooker if you don't have an Instant Pot. I am gonna cut up a large yellow onion. I'm gonna dice it. So I'm also adding in 2 medium potatoes. These are waxy potatoes, so not a russet. This is like a Yukon Gold. It has thin skin, so it's not like a floury potato. I am adding this to be the thickener for the soup, so that'll make it nice and creamy, and it's naturally gluten-free, so that's great. The reason why I want to add a starch to a creamy soup is that it helps it so that when you add the dairy at the end, it won't curdle or break out of the broth. I also have 2 cloves of garlic that I have chopped up here, and then lastly I'm going to peel and chop up a parsnip. So you could also use a carrot if you don't have parsnip, but I actually really love the flavor and the sweetness that the parsnip adds. And it also makes it so that the soup is completely white and creamy looking. The carrot gives it like a little bit more of a kind of orangey golden color. So I like to use the parsnip here. The nice thing about this soup, one of the nice things about this soup is you don't have to be too fussy about your knife cuts because it's all gonna get pureed. So you can really just chop it up. You just want them to cook evenly. So I'm just cutting them into like pieces that'll cook at about the same rate. Okay, so now that my veggies are chopped, I'm just gonna mix together everything in the Instant Pot. So we need a total of 6 cups of vegetable broth. This is my preferred vegetable broth. If you do not know about it, it will change your life, sort of. So I've got my broth in here. Now I'm gonna add in a teaspoon of salt and a ½ teaspoon of white pepper. This is, again, one of those things where you could use black pepper, it will show up, but I just love the taste of white pepper with a creamy, like dairy-based recipe. And then I'm gonna use a teaspoon of dry thyme as well. So here are the 2 weird ingredients. We're gonna use 2 teaspoons of brown deli mustard, and this is something that you would miss it if you tasted it side by side without it, but you definitely wouldn't know that that's what you're tasting. It just helps sort of bring out that cheesiness and gives it like a little subtle richness in the background. The other weird ingredient is beer. So this is something where if you don't drink beer, you can omit it for sure. Or if you don't have that, you could also use sherry. It's not very much, it's only 1/3 of a cup. So you can drink the rest of it if you want. And then I'm just gonna whisk this all together, mostly just to break up that mustard. All right, everything goes into the pool. So we've got the onion and 2 stalks of celery. We have a whole head of cauliflower broken up into florets. We have our parsnip, 2 tablespoons of garlic, and then our potatoes. Okay, so now I'm just gonna close this up. And you wanna just make sure that your valve here is on sealing, okay? So you don't want it on venting. We're just gonna set that for 10 minutes on high. So while the soup is cooking, I'm just gonna grate up my cheese. So this calls for 8 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese. I'm using white cheddar because I live in the Northeast and that's what kind of cheese we have here. If you have yellow cheddar, that definitely works too. Again, though, it will just change the color of the soup. So I just heard the timer go off and I am going to take the Instant Pot outside to release the steam. You don't have to do this outside, but why put all of that moisture in your house if you don't have to? So just make sure you wear a pot holder or use some gloves. It's a lot of steam. Okay, so now that it stopped steaming, it's safe to open it up. this is what it looks like. I'm just gonna take my immersion blender and I'm gonna blend it up. You could do this in a regular blender too. Okay, so now I'm gonna add in my cheese, my 8 ounces of cheese. And lastly, I'm just gonna add in a 1/2 cup of half and half. All right, now it's time to try. I love how thick it got from the potato. You can see that it's really a nice velvety texture. It's very creamy. I do taste that parsnip right off. It's definitely like a stronger flavor than the carrot, but I really love that. And I'm tasting the cheddar cheese for sure. It's got this sort of like tang to it, and then it's actually quite sweet. I think the parsnip probably makes it a little sweet, and then the cauliflower itself is sweet as well. And it's got a really nice, like thick coating mouthfeel to it as well. Thanks so much for watching. If you make this recipe, please make sure to take a picture of it and then share it on Instagram and tag me at Healthy Seasonal. Thanks so much for watching.